Welcome to the Nerd Party.
It's not working.
Well, how long since you've cleaned the heads?
The what?
The heads. Do you have any alcohol?
To drink?
What? No, to clean it. Check the tracking.
The rental place closes in 2 hours.
Shut up, it's working.
Time for a retro perspective.
Hello and welcome to Retro Perspective, the show on the Nerd Party where we take a look at all of the movies released 25 years ago this week. I'm Mike.
I am still John.
And today we're going to be taking a look at the movies released between August 3rd and August 19th, 1994.
Yes. Yeah.
Pretty big time span there, but we'll just barrel through it. So let's start, shall we?
Yes. Let's get these rewatches and watches going here.
Okay, August 3rd, which was a Wednesday, there were two movies released. The first coming in at number 13 at the box office for the week with $0.2 million and a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes. Eat, Drink, Man, Woman. This movie was directed by Ang Lee, which is why I wanted to watch it, but I didn't have time, so I didn't.
Nor did I.
Okay.
Nor did I.
Well, we'll have to get to that. He's got the Gemini Man thing coming out in a few months with the high frame rate and the 3D, and whatever.
He always makes something memorable. Regardless of what you think of it, it sticks with you. So, and I remember at the time the very positive reception for Eat, Drink, Man, Woman, but it was, I lived in, the exurbs and stuff like that. My movie theater was not going to get Eat, Drink, Man, Woman.
Yeah.
Not by a long shot.
Oh, well. Maybe someday. Maybe you'll get Gemini Man.
I'm pretty sure I'll be able to see Gemini Man if I want to.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there was another movie that was released on August 3rd. It came in at number 1 at the box office for the week with $39.1 million and 80% positive on Rotten Tomatoes. Clear and Present Danger.
Yes, Clear and Present Danger, starring Harrison Ford reprising his role of replacing Alec Baldwin as Jack Ryan in the series based on Tom Clancy's potboiler books about geopolitical problems.
Yeah. Are you a fan of the Jack Ryan series?
Not of the series, no. I thought Hunt for Red October is great. That's a terrific film.
Yeah.
But
Nothing else?
not so much the other ones. No, I didn't see the one with Chris Pine. I can tell you that Clear and Present Danger is not the worst one of the series, because I saw the one with Ben Affleck, Sum of All Fears, and that was really bad. That was a really bad movie.
I like all of them. I've seen all of them. I like all of them. Some of them are not as good as others. Like I think the Chris Pine one, Jack Ryan, Shadow Recruit, that, it's fun and everything, but it's ultimately forgettable. Some of All Fears, I think there's a lot of cool stuff going on in it, but some of it just doesn't reach the heights of like Hunt for Red October, which is clearly the best. And Patriot Games, there's like parts of it which I really, really love, and then parts of it which kind of drag on. But Clear and Present Danger, I'd probably put at number 2 in the series, behind Hunt for Red October.
I would as well, but it's a distant second.
Okay. Did you watch it for this?
Yes, I did. Of course I did. Yes.
I just talked about how much I don't like this movie, but of course I watched it.
Okay. Fair enough comment. But it was one of those things where there's enough distance that maybe I was going to like it more this time. Maybe there was an interest in revisiting it because there's so much time passed. You go back, you watch something that you liked, and you're like, I'm not at that place anymore. And sometimes you see something you didn't like, and you're like, you know what? I was a little too hard on this. But I don't think I was too hard on it. Did you watch it?
Yeah, I did.
right.
I mean, this is a movie which I've seen a ton of times. I mean, the last time I watched it was right before the Jack Ryan TV show came on. Did you watch that?
Oh yeah, I really like the Jack Ryan TV show. Little uneven in the back half of the season, but good. It was a really good show.
Yeah, leading up to that, I rewatched all of the movies just for kicks. But I've seen Clear and Present Danger a billion times, so
it just never really. I mean, there are sparks of Harrison Ford's charisma can't be denied, sort of stuff, but. I think it's one of those things where they needed to take another pass and cut like another 20 minutes out of it.
Yeah, I could see that. Going into it, I was like thinking about I was like, man, I'm surprised that True Lies is not my number one movie so far. I would have really thought that would have, blown away everything else. And I was kind of like thinking about my reaction to like True Lies and Speed and some of the other movies which I consider to be the top so far. And I was like, boy, Clear and Present Danger, that might be my number one movie of the year so far. And then, watching it, I was like, no, it's not as good as those two. But I would still probably put it at number 3 on the year so far.
I think I'm probably just more difficult with it, specifically because there are certain things where I just think that some of the intrigue stuff is slower paced than it should be and a little bit clunky in how it comes together. And in terms of holding up, like the whole thing where he's like hacked into the guy's computer and they're going back, like that has a sort of nostalgic charm to it because even now, that's not what computer hacking would look like, where they're like dueling delete keys and stuff like that. But I'll give them credit for the fact that they at least try to acknowledge the sort of the dense material of a Clancy book and how layered it is. But I would say probably that would get at my problem with the movie overall is that it has a book structure, not a movie structure. Mm-hmm. And so books can meander and can go down these different rabbit holes and stuff. But, I don't hate it, not by a long shot, but I just, wasn't too impressed by it this time.
Okay. All right. Well, moving on to Friday, August 5th, we had 2 more movies come out. Next up, at number 10 at the box office with $3.3 million and 21% positive on Rotten Tomatoes, Airheads.
I did not rewatch it, but I have seen it multiple times in my life.
Okay, I have not seen it. They actually did like a 25th anniversary screening in 35 millimeter here in Chicago with the director and everything, and I was like, I should go to that, but I didn't. So, how is Airheads from what you remember?
Oh, I didn't see it for the first time until well after it came out, probably early 2000s or whatever. I think it's charming. It's a charming, fun little movie that is, it's just it's a silly little movie that has a lot of energy to it and very much captures the era. And has a lot of fun poking at the sort of grunge music trend that was going on at the time. And, and definitely plays with the whole idea of like the authenticity of a musician versus the inauthenticity of the musician and, all of those sorts of things. And I think it's very cute. I think it's worth seeing. I have very fond memories of it.
Okay. I want to check it out sooner or later. Yeah.
Steve Buscemi's in it.
I know. It's always a plus, right?
Brendan Fraser, Joe Mantegna, Michael McKean. So, and what's his name? Matthew Lillard is in it, I think.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So one more movie this week. Coming in at number 4 at the box office with $15.9 million and a 23% on Rotten Tomatoes, The Little Rascals. Have you seen this?
Nope.
It looks really bad.
It sure does.
Could not bring myself to watch it. Sorry.
Nah.
So,
Nah.
So for the first week, I mean, I would definitely give my vote to Clear and Present Danger, especially since it's the only one of the 4 that I've seen. But it sounds like you prefer Airheads.
Very much so.
Okay.
I would give Airheads much higher marks.
All right, so let's move on to our next week, where we have another Wednesday opening, August 10th, coming in at number 14 at the box office with $0.4 million and a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes. The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
Yep.
Did you watch this?
I did. I had never seen it, but I watched it for this for our little show here.
Me too. So what did you think?
It was all right.
Yeah.
It was, given the subject matter, I found it to be a little bland.
Yeah.
Honestly. Which was surprising.
It's very formulaic in terms of like the road trip thing, which, you know, generally speaking, I like road trip movies, but they do definitely have a plot. And one of the things which I always dread whenever I'm watching a road trip movie is the part where the vehicle breaks down, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to happen no matter what it is, right? It's going to happen. And in this one, it happened, and it's broken down for like half the movie.
Yes.
And I'm just like, come on. And like, the thing is, it's like when they finally get where they're going, when the movie finally gets where it's going, I'm like, okay, I'm into this. This is good. I like what they're doing here. But it takes forever to get there. And I'm just like, come on, guys, let's go. Come on, let's go. And so, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I did not like it. I also thought that it was very jumpy, which is weird because like the guy who directed this, Stephen Elliott, I think his name is, like he did this other movie like after this called Eye of the Beholder with Ashley Judd and Ewan McGregor. Have you seen that?
No, but it sounds very familiar.
It's like this weird thriller thing with like weird psychological. There might be sci-fi elements. I don't remember exactly what it's about. I remember that the editing is insane and like the style is just like super crazy. And it's like one of those things where like you watch it and you're like, this is so slick. This is so, you know, like you want to give it points for that. But the problem is it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. You cannot follow the plot to save your life. And because of that, it's not good at all. And I kind of felt like this was sort of a mini version of that, but without like the cool style. I don't know.
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan.
I thought I agree with, you know, what you're saying. I thought that I remember Terrence Stamp getting the lion's share of praise back in the day, and he deserves it. I thought his performance was solid, and there were elements that were very interesting, but it, you know, I don't know how much more I could add to what you said, but yeah, that it. I was left with this sort of sense of surprise at not particularly caring for it.
Yeah.
I felt almost like that disorienting feeling where you've lived for so long with, you know, remembering how much people loved it and praised it and talked about how wonderful it was, and you watch it and you're like, is there something wrong? What am I not seeing here? So like you're really watching it closely to be like, what am I missing?
Yeah.
And you sort of almost seem like to overthink it because you're just like waiting for that magic moment to happen.
And maybe that's one of those things where it's just built up so much. I mean, like I remember the first time I watched Big Lebowski after my friends talking about it for, you know, like a year, I was like, it was fine. You know, same thing with Shaun of the Dead. And now I go back and I look at those and I'm like, oh, yeah, no, see, I was just like, I was expecting like the best thing ever and it was just fine, you know? But yeah I don't know. And I didn't realize that it was Hugo Weaving and Guy Pearce. You know, I didn't know because back then I don't think anyone knew who they were, right?
Well, Guy Pearce would he have broken through with LA Confidential by this point? Or no, that's 2 years in the future from here.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, But yeah, and Hugo Weaving is, yeah, like he's got a very distinctive look, and so what they do with his look is very interesting. But yeah, I think also maybe something that hurts it, I'm not kidding either, is that it's set in Australia. So there's nothing culturally for me to hook on to understand where they're going through. And like, there's the general template of the people that hate them for who they are and stuff like that. But I think if it were set in a more familiar, set of environs going on, I probably would have reacted better to it, because I would have been able to say, oh yeah, I know that area, or that seems familiar to me.
Yeah. Oh, well. Well, there were two other movies that came out in this week on Friday, August 12th. A la Mode, which I really don't know anything about this movie, because there's not even trailers for it. You can't find it anywhere. I couldn't find any box office information about it. It has no reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, although the audience score is 75%. So yeah, I basically know nothing about this movie.
We probably dodged a bullet.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. But the other movie came in at number 6 at the box office this week with $10 million and 6% on Rotten Tomatoes. In the Army Now, starring Pauly Shore.
Yep. No way I'm willingly watching a Pauly Shore movie and paying for it.
Yeah,
Nope.
I did not watch this movie either. Sorry, Pauly.
I do not want to revisit any memories of Pauly Shore's brief wink at fame.
Yep.
I have nothing against him personally. I'm sure he's a fine person and has friends and family and everybody who loves him, and I wish him nothing but the best, but I have never watched anything with him in it where I said, oh, ha, 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 that's great. Nope.
Yep. Well, it seems like Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert is the winner this week.
Yep.
So moving on to our final week. August 17th, another Wednesday release. They're really loving the Wednesday releases. We got another one next week, too. Coming in at number 5 at the box office with $7.7 million and 50% positive on Rotten Tomatoes. Andre.
I couldn't find a copy of this, man.
Really?
I looked. Yeah, I couldn't. Was I just like looking wrong? Because there's another movie called Andre that came out like a decade and a half later or something, but that's not the same one. It was like 2007 or something like that.
Well, I didn't try to look for this one, but I did see this probably about 1998.
And okay,
yeah.
So you've seen this,
yeah. Because see, what I would do is I worked at a comic book store, but like I had a deal with the owner where I was like, "You're not going to pay me much at all, but I'm not going to do much work at all. I will man the counter on Fridays, but I will only watch movies while manning the counter." Right? And there was a Blockbuster down the street, so I would go and just rent movies. And I basically started at one end, and I'm just like, I'm going to rent, the first movie that looks good or intriguing. And I saw Andre, and I looked at it, and I'm like, oh, directed by George Miller. Oh, that sounds good. Mad Max. And what I didn't realize is there's actually 2 George Millers. Both of them have done. I mean, and to be fair, I was like, oh, well, George Miller did Babe. So, he does kids' movies too. So this is another kids' movie by George Miller. Not the same George Miller. That being said, this movie actually was pretty good from what I remember. At least that's what I thought 21 years ago.
Okay.
It's, it's cute. It's a cute kids' movie. Pretty sure the girl is the little girl from Independence Day, if I'm not mistaken. But she befriends a seal, and then they want to take the seal and bring him to whatever. It's one of those movies, and but it's her best friend, and how can they take this seal away from her? One of those things. Like the big thing is the seal kept on blowing raspberries at people, like that kind of thing. And it's cute. It's a good kids movie. So there you go. And I saw it when I was 18. So yeah.
Yeah, hopefully I can find a copy of it and watch it with the kids or something.
Yeah, they'd like it. It's decent. Yeah. All right. So on August 19th, Friday, August 19th, there were 3 movies which came out. First one, I can't find any box office for it, but I'm aware of this movie for sure. And it's called Totally Effed Up. And it has 100% positive on Rotten Tomatoes. It was directed by this guy, Greg Araki, who is kind of one of the 90s indie cinema pioneers, I guess. And it's the first part of like a trilogy, I think a thematic trilogy. And it's about, sort of like 90s youth. And, it's very much sort of, I think, tapping into, like counterculture and, the LGBT community and stuff like that. And it's supposed to be just like this crazy, weird, like almost experimental movie. And I've been wanting to see it forever, and I can't find it. Have you seen it?
Nope.
That's the one that I really wanted to watch, and I'm really kind of disappointed that I don't watch it. And it's really weird because this guy, Greg Araki, who, he's made so many like crazy movies like this, and like all of his stuff is like so like off the sort of like mainstream track that you're just like like things that like aren't even going to be playing in like art houses and stuff like that. Like it's like that obscure, and now he like directs like teen drama. Like he directed an episode of Riverdale, he directed a bunch of episodes of 13 Reasons Why. And it's like, how does that work? Because like he'd be like the guy who was like, ripping on those. It's whatever. It's weird, but it also makes me want to watch those shows. So
yeah, the thing is when you get into the script, how I react to it. Oh, it captures 90s youth life. Like I break out in hives with those movies.
See, I'm all about those movies. So yeah, I really wish I could have found a copy of this, but I couldn't. So what can you do? Next up, number 11 at the box office with $5.2 million and 13% on Rotten Tomatoes. Blank Man.
Yes.
Have you seen this?
Yes, I watched it for this week for the first time. I was curious, and it's not Harvey Blankman, it's Blank Man, and it's Damon Wayans and David Alan Grier doing a wacky Batman homage sort of thing. So
yeah, I was like, oh, like I remember seeing the ads on the back of every single comic back then, and I'm like, now, especially with comic book movies being what they are, maybe this would be cool to revisit. And then I watched the trailer and I'm like, nah.
There are a couple of chuckles. There are a couple of chuckles in it. It's harmless enough. It's not particularly memorable. And honestly, it really has the feel of just sort of like has that sort of like Happy Gilmore vibe to it, where it's just a bunch of people getting together and just, let's try to do something funny. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Wayans and Grier have, good chemistry. Robin Givens is in it. Jason Alexander is in it in a really interesting sort of role. And, they of course, amp everything up to 1,000 in terms of the caricatures of everybody. And it's all right. It's not bad. It's not good, but it's, I've spent 2 hours worse ways, Yeah. So it's all right.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. I can't see that this is high up on my list of things to see.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying, beat a path to Amazon's door and, kick it down and say, take my $3. I must watch this. It's not that. But, if it's on for free and you're looking around for something, it's a good way to beat a day that's, too hot or too rainy outside. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I did watch the number 4 movie at the box office on August 19th, which came in at $9.4 million, 21% on Rotten Tomatoes. Color of Night.
Saw it in the theater.
Yeah. I had never seen it, and I saw the trailer and I'm like, why not? And then I saw that it was on HBO and they had the director's cut with an added 19 minutes.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And I'm like, let's do this. So,
okay.
What did you think when you saw it in the theater?
Oh, I hated it, Mike. I hated it a whole lot.
Okay.
Bruce Willis has abused my love for him many, many times over the years. And this was one of those times where I was like, come on, man. What the hell?
Oh, he wasn't nearly as bad in this as he is in some of his more recent stuff, This is back when he still pretended like he cared.
That's true. And also back when he pretended he still had hair. So that's true.
Yeah.
I'm dying to know, though, what did you think? You watched a version that was 19 minutes longer than the one I saw. Yeah. Please do tell.
From what I understand, there's more than anything, it basically has more sex in it.
Oh, boy.
This is the I guess, infamous version where you get to see Bruce Willis's penis. So that was exciting.
Wow.
Actually, we're going to get to see it again in a few weeks, with Pulp Fiction. So it's the year of Bruce Willis's penis, apparently. But yeah. It's trends. It's like, 98, you had the 2 asteroid movies. Like 97 was the 2 volcano movies.
94 was Willis looking for any reason to show us Willie.
There you go. So,
okay.
Yeah, no, it's really bad.
Yep.
I mean, like, stylistically, I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. I kind of like the concept, even though it's like absolutely ridiculous. Like, he's a psychologist whose patient jumps out his office window and kills herself, and he's so traumatized by the sight of the blood that he no longer sees the color red.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes to hang out with his friend, who's another psychologist played by Scott Bakula. And he's got like a group session, and Bakula is convinced that one of the patients is going to kill him, but he doesn't know which one.
Mm-hmm.
And then they do. So now Bruce Willis needs to take over his sessions and figure out who killed Scott Bakula.
Sure seems like a police investigation goes differently than that, but okay.
Well,
sure.
The police are involved too, and they need his help. And he's like, I can't violate client. And like Ruben Blades plays the cop who plays by his own rules. And he's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, he's like so over the top. And it's the way it's written, And it's written by Billy Ray, who's, become like a established, legit, presence in the world of film. And it's just like, boy, this must have been like his first movie or something. I don't know. But yikes. And then, the whole thing is like, it's so poorly constructed. And there's like this whole mystery, but you figure out the mystery like a half an hour into the movie. Like as soon as it's presented, you're like, oh, here's how all the pieces fit together, And it's just like, geez, what's going on, guys? It doesn't work. It's bad.
Well, I'm glad to see that my memory of it is retained. And actually, I'll relate it back to finally Free Jack, which came out 2 years prior to this, which I also saw in the movie theater. Was for years I would talk about how terrible it was, but I hadn't been able to see it for decades. And I suspect Color of Night would fall into the same category. There are things I forget left and right in my life. There are things from 2 years ago where somebody would say, "Oh, you remember?" And I was like, no, I'm not really. But there is something about a bad movie that sticks with you where you can remember a lot of stuff. And hearing you talk about it, I'm starting to have scenes from the movie come back. And I'm like, and it's almost like a traumatic memory of, I was trapped in the movie theater and I couldn't leave because my ride was also there and I couldn't get out. You know, like it's just amazing how a movie can stick with you both for good reasons and bad reasons. And this is one of those ones where when we got to the list, I'm like, and I just saw Color of Night and I just, nope, not a chance. I am not doing this one again. And that's why Blank Man got my money.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, you can watch it on HBO if you want, and director's cut and all that. So, you know.
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm all right. It's cool.
All right. Well, out of the two movies that I saw from this week, even though one I haven't seen 21 years ago and did not feel the need to revisit, I would still probably recommend Andre over Color of Night. So
fair.
Yeah.
Fair. So of these 3 weeks, who's your winner for this entire span of time?
Clear and Present Danger, no doubt. What about you?
Even though I didn't revisit it, Airheads wins by default.
Okay.
But of the ones that I did watch, I would probably give the edge to Clear and Present Danger because I thought some of the action sequences were really well put together.
Yeah, it's a well-made movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. It works for me. Holds up. All right, well, next week is when the real game begins. Maybe we've said that before, but we'll keep on saying it. There are 5 movies next week. One Wednesday opening, 4 Friday openings, and those movies are The Advocate, Karina, Wagons East, Camp Nowhere, and Natural Born Killers. So, looking forward to those quite a bit. But until then, John, where can people find you on the internet?
Oh, look for Kessel Junkie. I lurk on Twitter. You can find me logging reviews over on Letterboxd, and you can find me right here on the network co-hosting Aggressive Negotiations, a Star Wars podcast with my friend Matthew Rushing, where we explore, we're not your typical Star Wars podcast where we're talking about news and speculation. We're talking about some of the deeper dive stuff having to do with the world's coolest saga. So where can people find you, Mike?
You can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at Mumbles3K. You can also find me on my website, filmdamagepod.com, doing a show called Film Damage. And you can find me on Trek.fm, doing a show called Tracks on the Line. And yeah, I guess that's it. Next week, definitely exciting. Definitely some cool stuff coming up. And, you know, we're moving out of summer and into the fall, and the fall is where it all happens. So good stuff in the near future, I think.
Yeah, start bringing the heavy hitters and the controversial stuff that's going to get people talking, and having Oliver Stone doing MTV interviews about television violence. Yeah.
Yeah. Exciting stuff. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be talking about it next week, but until then, be kind, rewind.